So this is a piece that is an exploding plant, and it's quite sexual. I'm thinking about using textiles to think about the female and the male, and them sort of being one, basically. And this is an idea that goes through a lot of like ancient South Asian philosophy, keep recurring, the female and male kind of gender being one. So this is made out of wool, and the natural behavior of wool when you get it in like a fluffy fiber is when you wet it and rub it, it becomes into a dense fabric, like a cloth. That's how I made all of this stuff. I'm taking fluff, laying it out on the floor, and then soaking it in hot soapy water, rolling it up, and then kicking it back and forth until it compresses into a fabric. And this is one of the oldest ways of making textiles. And I love that it's ancient, because for me, when a technology is old and relatively unchanged over time, that means it's very sophisticated. It doesn't need to change. So I'm interested conceptually in timelessness, and my whole narrative of the world I've created is kind of a scene of people suspended in a time. It feels ancient, but it also feels very, futuristic in a way. All of these pieces I filmed. I wore this headdress on my head, and I wore this costume on myself, and I wore this piece on my body, and I was dancing, and I was shaking this, and I'm moving and creating a kind of a non-verbal narrative. So these people, for me, are blind. They cannot see outside, but they see inside, and they use sound to connect their consciousness with future, their vision. And for me, even these eggs, a lot of my forms in my work represent life and birth and kind of cracking open. So I have these eggs that make noise, but they have cracks that kind of symbolize that something is going to birth. So I think this recurring idea in my work is manifesting and birth, and whether it's manifestation of a vision or manifestation of a life. I feel like I can make anything with felt, and so I'm trying to explore all the different properties and the way it can live. And so this is a piece that's shedding and revealing again. It's almost quite violent. For me, the process of meditation, when people think about meditation, they think they hear a very quiet, calm practice, but for me it's quite a violent or like difficult. I'm sweating, and that process of looking inside for me is like, the place that we need to start as humanity, as people, to start making sense of the mess that we're in. At least for me, that's how I feel. Like all of this work is coming from a place of feeling like we've been in war against ourselves for a long time, and the place to start out of this mess is looking very deeply inside, and it's difficult. I think textile is a medium that it makes you feel a lot, and what do you do with that feeling? And I'm trying to generate the feeling I feel when I'm in a temple, when there's a void, and in that space you feel presence. So my work, I'm trying to create a space where I feel present, and this feeling of boom, you know.